Alright guys, welcome back. Unless this is your first time here, I'm the Northwest Fisherman Chris, and today we're going to be finally cracking open the January Monster Bass Platinum Takeover box from Zman. Sorry this was late this week with the weather, the storms, and everything going on. I was a little bit tired every night after I got off work. But anyway, let's get this thing open. So of course, like always, we've got our book. Crack this thing open real quick. These are the different boxes that you can get. I get the Platinum one. I keep saying I want to get the multi-series. I just haven't done it yet. The first thing is all about Zman Elastec and how great it is, and the takeover baits that are going to be in here. So that's your Jackhammer, your Chatterspite, your Furness Shroom Z Weedless, the big TRD, the Hellraiser, that's super exciting. The Willow Vibe, I really like the Willow Vibe. It's kind of in its own little spot. And then the Streaks. I'll show you guys what's super special about Elastec in just a moment, the pluses to it and the cons. Alright, Wednesdays on YouTube, they do their live streams, pointers from the pros. This one's going to be all about the Jackhammer. I agree with basically all of this. And I would like to add that I would fish it basically absolutely anywhere. Just kind of judge it. The best places I found to fish jackhammers is in that like spawn and pre-spawn weeds where they're first coming up. If you can get it to hang up and then pop it free, you'll get so many reaction bites on that. Spiking your jig with a trailer. This is talking about the Chatterspike, which it's pretty cool. I'll also show you guys in comparison to the Razor Shed. Power up your finesse game with the little TRD and the EWG style shrooms net head. It's pretty cool. Bait Hacker, Dry Rub Smoked Chicken Wings. Got ingredients here. These books are pretty cool. There's a lot of information here, and then there's fun stuff in here too. People that caught their PBs. Oh, that's actually different. Normally you get your Astro table, unless I accidentally missed it. No Astro table this month. Interesting. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the Hellraiser. It's a topwater bait. It's also kind of like a... It's kind of hard to describe. I did a video about this about a year ago when this bait first came out after iCast. I was pretty lucky and I got it kind of earlier than other people. I got it earlier than all stores basically. But I got it earlier than several people. Let's get this thing cracked open. This is 5 inches long, about, what is this, 3/8 of an ounce, or 5/8 of an ounce. And the color on this is snow. Snow is actually my favorite color, because I picked up all the Hellraiser colors when they first came out. Starting at the front, the whole thing is kind of a pearl white color. I don't know how well that's going to show up. It's got this little red eyes, a little bit of blue behind it, but it is just pure pearl white. You got this big oversized front hook, and then back here you've got a smaller hook. And of course you got the little blade. So when you're pulling this through the water, because it's a top water, imagine the water line here. So that nose just flips back and forth just like that, right above the water. And then the whole tail is down behind it. And then the back of this is doing chatterbait things. It's kind of hard to explain how exactly this looks going through the water column. But it works great. Now, I will say one thing. So, the Hellraiser is a phenomenal bait, okay? This, however, will hook absolutely anything. If there's grass within 10 feet of this thing is going to get hung up on that grass. A lot of times you can get really lucky and plan your routes through the grass, because this is a great bait to throw into light grass. But it will hang up and snag on everything it can. And then once it's in the boat, it's also going to hang up and snag on everything it can. In my experience, that's just my experience. It's a great bait when it's not hung up. That's the only drawback to this thing, and it gets hung up quite often. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and talk about the finesse shrooms. So this is a weedless style Ned head, basically. It's just a Ned head with that's weedless. Not anything super in particular special. This one's 1/10 of an ounce. Let's go ahead and grab. Yeah, there we go. Let's grab that big TRD copper truce. There's the color on this, and I'll be able to show you what's really neat about the Z-Man pack plastics and what makes Elastic so cool. So, if you took like a Cinco and you did this to it, you're gonna have like 3 Cincos. Like, it doesn't really care. Yeah, it doesn't care. You can beat up on them. That's like I've heard a lot of people complain, be like, "Oh yeah, the Z-Man plastics. There's not very many in a package." It's because they do this. They don't really. They wear out. They don't fall apart. They eventually, after you fish them all day and catch 20, 30 fish on it and hang it up 6,000 times, then it will kind of, like, the end of it might fall off. But what's really cool about the big TRD is it's actually got salt impregnated in it, I believe. Yeah, it's got salt impregnated in it. It's not super heavily salty because it, once again, still does this. But what you're going to do with this guy here is you are going to just take it, shred it on. With Elastic products, you have to be very, very precise on getting it straight, because you can't just kind of push it around like regular baits. Now, when you get up to this bait keeper that's on here, this metal one, you're just going to pull it beyond it. Don't worry about it. Like, you can beat up this thing. Like, just work on it. Pull it around. I'll show you with the jackhammer what I mean by you can just beat it up, because you're going to have to beat it up to get it on there. But yeah, there you go. First lure. That Shrooms head with the, actually, is that even the Shrooms head? No, it's the Shrooms head. One of those days, guys. And that copper truce big TRD. There you go. And you could treat this like a Cinco too, or you could rip part of this off. You can do anything you want with it. Okay. All right, Willow Vibe. So I really like the Willow Vibe. The 3/8 one, it's a little bit heavy. I like the 1/4 ounce one a little bit more, but it's just a bladed jig head. Nothing fancy here, but it's a lot more finesse than like throwing like a regular chatterbait or a jackhammer or any other bladed jig. It's got some light vibrations. This is more of an open water bait, the Willow Vibe. You can fish it around like sandy shores and stuff like that, but with like moss and moderate grass, it gets hung up pretty easy. And when you're retrieving it, you have to watch your retrieve speed, because if you reel slightly too fast, it'll start to just spin like this, and then it just puts knots in your line. And then you're cutting line off because it's got windage knots in it with no wind. But anyway, so for that, they were kind enough to send us these streaks. I really like the streaks as a trailer on this. I also like to use paddle tails, or just the straight tail ones, because this is kind of like their take on a weightless jerkbait. Once again, Elastic, you can pull on it all day long, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. So we'll go ahead and get this on here. Rig it all up for you. So this got this wire hook keeper here. For most baits, that might not be enough, but for elastic, you just pull it way beyond it, and it's not coming off. Like, and it's still pretty much right there. Just push it back up there, pull it on, and you're good to go. See, this is a fine example of that you really need to keep it perfectly straight. I didn't get that one perfectly straight, and it's going to be a little bit dumb going through the water, but it's not that big of a deal on this particular bait. And the color on the streaks there were the pearl, which all white. Set that over there. I like that a lot. So down here, we got the all new chatter spike, and we got the jackhammer. So the chatter spike came out this last spring or so, and it's a really good trailer. However, I do not feel like the chatter spike is quite the correct trailer for the jackhammer necessarily, because I'm very partial to the old razor shad, which is essentially the exact same trailer. Here's the razor shad right here. Nope, if I can get it out. So here's the new chatter spike and fire crab, just matching with our jackhammer. And then this is the older razor shad. Now, the chatter spike, because I've had these for a little while too, they're great. They're a little bit finessier, but I like the jackhammer's hunting motion with the razor shad better. And I do like the razor shad a little bit better on the new Evo. And let's go ahead and get this hook protector ripped off the old jackhammer here. Get all this skirt all freed up there. Alright, got that off there. Okay, so on the jackhammer. Now, this is a complaint I've heard a lot of people say, that they don't like the elastic plastics, especially for their jackhammers, because of those double wire hook keepers. Okay? Because there is kind of a small science to getting an elastic trailer to go over both those hook keepers. On the other baits, it was really easy. You're just able to pull on one side and pull it over. Jackhammer, with both of those, that's different. So what we're going to do, we're going to, of course, put it up here, see where we want to come out, and then we are going to feed this on absolutely as straight as possible to our turnout point. Okay, there we are. So we're getting ready to come over those double wire hook keepers. So we're going to, I like to go from the bottom first and pull it down and over, and then go to the top, pull it down and over, and just watch that hook, because it is super sharp. And you're just going to kind of work it down on there until you get it all the way on. Now, you don't want to pull it too far that it gets bunched up, because it's going to make it move through the water kind of stupid. But that is how you do it. That right there is the trick, because it's elastic, and it doesn't matter how much you pull on it. It doesn't matter how much you beat it up. It's really wonderful stuff. I really love elastic baits, and they still have all of that sensitivity. Okay. So other notable features about the jackhammer and what justifies the jackhammer being $14, $15, $16. So the jackhammer has a harder vibration than any of the other chatterbaits that Z-Man make. Some people can argue about the Thunder Cricket or the Slobber Knocker. I'm on Team Jackhammer. Hits the hardest, and it also picks up the quickest. And the jackhammer itself has more premium quality hardware. It's got a slightly heavier gauge wire hook than the traditional chatterbait. The blade hits harder, it hits quicker, and this thing you can pull through a lot of cover. Earlier when I was saying my favorite way to fish a jackhammer besides just like yo-yoing it or just kind of ripping it through like a grass line, just rip it past it, is to throw it straight into the weeds, start retrieving it, the blade will start working, wait till you get hung up on something, give it a second, and then just kind of pop your rod and keep reeling the whole time, and it will cause a reaction strike from the bass. I love doing that in spawn and pre-spawn. And it's red's a fantastic color. My other favorite colors for the jackhammer are the black and blue, obviously, and the green pumpkin. I will honestly say out here in the Northwest, the black and blue just works. It doesn't matter if the water's dirty, if it's clear, whatever. Black and blue is always my go-to. Now, here is the downside to Elastec. Okay, you cannot store Elastec anywhere where you've stored traditional plastics or store traditional plastics from any other company with your Elastec. It will melt. It will turn into a gooey, nasty mess, and it's not fun. Zman actually recommends that you take your soft plastics off and you return them to the package, and they have all kinds of different ways that you can store your plastics. They have little binders, they have bigger binders, they've even got a duffel bag. That's the recommended way that they store these plastics. However, I do have a small trick up my sleeve. So this is the Spro jig box. I believe these are like $8-9, okay, on Tackle Warehouse or wherever you shop. They're super cheap and they're for jigs. I have found that they are terrific for storing all my chatterbaits, because all the plastics that are in here on all my chatterbaits, all my bladed jigs, all of that, I only use Elastec, so I can store them all together. And the Elastec trailers do not react with the foam that's in here. And the edges of this box have this little shelf in here, which is basically the perfect size for all the blades. Now, over the summer, these boxes sat in high temps. It got a little warpy, got a little funky, but it doesn't matter. It's perfect. Plus, the amount of chatterbaits or jigs or whatever you store in these, because 2 of these is almost the same size as a regular box. It's just slightly bigger. Super effective for space, especially if you're bank fishing, if you're pond fishing, or you're a kayak fisherman and you don't have a ton of room. This is a great option, and they're super, super cheap. But yeah, you cannot store Elastec plastics with any other plastics at all. I wouldn't even necessarily even say that you could take like the strickworm. I wouldn't even set these two by each other on a warm day on the bow of my kayak. Not even worth creating that mess. Now, once you accept that these are essentially indestructible, and you just can't store them with everything else, they're fantastic. I have a lot of Zman baits, and the packaging that they send you, if you are the type of person that's going to store them back in the packaging is really sturdy. It's tough. The trays are nice. They're pretty. You can crush them, is what I'm trying to say. You can beat these up and you can squish them, step on them, or whatever. Like I was talking about the binders, I do have the Zman binders. They're out in my garage. I forgot to grab them before the video. All Zman plastics have holes pre-punched in them, so you can just put them straight into the binder. Keep them organized. And it's brilliant, because you can stick 10 or 12 of these bags in their small little binder. Super easy to carry around. and then you can just change out whatever you want. And Z-Man makes everything that you can think of in Elastec anymore. They make regular paddle tails. They make little baits. They make those finesse TRDs, not just the big TRDs. The big TRD is kind of like a Senko. They make super fat Senko looking ones. They make their own version of the trick worm. They make everything. I mean, we all have our favorite baits. I mean, some baits you just can't, you're not going to fish a different one. Like, I've used the Z-Man paddle tails. I don't like them better than the Kitech. So I carry both. Plus, I'm slightly worried with some of my non-Z-Man skirted baits, like my spinners, having a reaction to the Elastec. The jackhammers, the chatterbaits, it doesn't matter. Minimax, Big Blade, none of them react with the Elastec. They don't react, which is fantastic. But that's the warning on that. However, it's amazing stuff. Because, like, I have... Oh... Where is it? Hold on, give me a second, guys. My tackle room's kind of a mess right now. Like, I recently picked this up. They even have bigger swim baits. This one's only 5 inches, but they make them bigger. And they make a ton of colors. They make a ton of really good colors. Other notable colors that I like besides, like, Firecraw, your green pumpkin, your black and blue, I really like the deal. The deal is easily one of my favorite colors from Z-Man. Just a heads up, definitely worth checking out. This month's box was definitely worth the money for it. Just the jackhammer and just the Hellraiser, that's $30. And there's a very good reason why these are expensive. They work fantastically. If you have a different opinion about that, that's fine. I'm just saying, for my situation and all of my experiences, I've never had a problem with Z-Man. Ever. They've always been fantastic. They've always worked exactly how I expected, if not better. And if you flip back through my channel, I even did a test between heating them up and cooling them down. I threw Elastec in the freezer, and there was almost no noticeable change at all compared to, like, traditional plastics at below freezing. I mean, I had them in the deep freezer at, I think my deep freezer's like -10. I keep it real cold. Elastec's the way to be. I'm a big fan. So, that's pretty much it for this show. I'll catch you guys later. Hopefully it warms up a little bit and I can stop shoveling snow. So, remember, stay safe out there, mind the ice. I know it's cold. Those of you that are going out, just be careful. Okay, guys? All right. Well, I'll see you guys later. And remember, FAFO, fish around and find out. Take care.